The Washington Commanders fell 20-17 against the New York Jets in preseason game number 1, but everybody's coming out smiles all because of the debut of rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. That and more coming up on this bonus episode of Locked On Commanders.
You are Locked On Commanders, your daily podcast on the Washington Commanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into this live episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, David Harrison, credentialed member of the media covering the Washington Commanders for Sports Illustrated's Commander Game Day. Here with you every Monday through Friday. Greatly appreciate you coming through on Saturday, since we're here on Saturdays as well, especially when game day is on Saturday. Everydayers, thank you for coming back every single day like you do. As you can see, if you are joining me live on YouTube or watching later on YouTube, if you're listening, still appreciate you coming through, especially all of our new listeners this training camp and preseason. We are live on the surface here at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. This is the plan for the season. The plan is to come to you live from the field surface after games all year long. Road games are going to be a little bit dicey. Every stadium's a little bit different. Every staff's a little bit different. Some aren't as friendly as others, so we're going to do our best. But at Ashburn, we should be good to go to be able to do this every single day. Of course, this is your daily podcast covering the Washington Commanders. If you haven't already, you can subscribe for free on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. On today's episode, we're bringing back our 3 stars of the game. We're going to talk about Jayden Daniels, continuing our eye on the Tiger, on the rookie quarterback. But first, we're going to talk about how the Washington Commanders fell 20-17 to the New York Jets in preseason game number 1. If you want to discuss anything we talk about here on the episode, all you got to do is become a Locked On Commanders insider. Go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders, and you can text me from there. I'll text you back again. Joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders to become an insider today. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs, which helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. 20-17, New York Jets defeat the Washington Commanders. And how did we get there? We got there first and foremost with a rushing touchdown from rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels. It was a 3-yard rushing touchdown for the young quarterback, his first NFL touchdown. It's not going to go in the record books because, as we all know, preseason stats don't carry off into the regular season, and obviously nobody keeps track of preseason records unless you are the Baltimore Ravens and you care about those kinds of things, which don't let them fool you guys. They absolutely care about those kinds of things. But that touchdown was answered later by the New York Jets. Their quarterback had a short left route pass to Jordan Brownlee for 12-yard touchdown for the New York Jets. Greg Zuerlein adding the extra point. That touchdown pass did go against cornerback Emmanuel Forbes, which we will talk more about in our in-depth episode that will drop on Sunday evening as well. Ramiz Ahmed made a 40-yard field goal to give the Washington Commanders back the lead 10-7, but Greg Zuerlein right at the end of the first half nailed a 56-yard field goal to tie the game up going into halftime. Third quarter, we saw no points, but the Washington Commanders struck first in the second half with Michael Wiley going right tackle for a 1-yard touchdown run. Riley Patterson made that extra point, missed a field goal earlier in the game. That made it 17-10. Washington Commanders. The New York Jets came right back and answered. Israel Abanikanda, running back out of Minnesota, it's his second or third year here with the New York Jets, was able to score a touchdown. Austin Seibert, who is the Jets' second kicker. So I'm not saying he's going to become available, but I'm saying he might become available, making the extra point to tie that game. And then Austin Seibert eventually making a 37-yard field goal to give the New York Jets the 20-17 win. It's preseason. So right now the Washington Commanders are 0-1. Eventually they will once again be 0-0. But how this whole thing run down, the key play of the game came in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 7 from the Washington 33. So still kind of within field goal range, but not exactly within field goal range. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left in the game. Adrian Martinez, the quarterback, scrambles around the left end, was pushed out of bounds at the Washington 20. 2-minute warning comes and goes. 13-yard gain. Pretty much puts the Jets in position to kick the game-winning field goal, which they end up doing. The play of the game, however, key play, is always going to be what play impacted the game the most in the game outcome. The play of the game is always going to be the best play from the Washington Commanders as we do these post-game episodes, and that has to be the pass from Jayden Daniels, rookie quarterback, to De'Ami Brown, a 42-yard connection. Not only was it a bomb, a dime by Jayden Daniels, as Dan Quinn put it, but it was also a play that came on 3rd and 6. So you need a third down conversion. Jayden was only getting one drive out there, so he makes the best of it, gets that 42-yard pass, converts the first down, and then eventually scores his first rushing touchdown of his young NFL career. Again, not going to count in the record books, but it certainly counts here today on Saturday. The Tress Way came through, and if you didn't watch the game yet, I highly recommend you go watch this play. Your punter, Tress Way, number 10, at least for now, maybe permanently, we'll see what he decides to do, came up with a big play on special teams, punted the ball downfield. The return coverage team was trying to do their best to corral the Jets' return. It actually looked for a moment that they did have him corralled, but unfortunately he gets away from the pursuit. Tress Way screaming down the field, makes the play on the sideline, gets the tackle on his own punt. Very impressive play by Tress Way. I think if you're the special teams coordinator, you're telling your guys there's no reason the punter should be running down the field making this kind of play, right? But you love the fact that Tress Way is willing to go out there, put his body on the line, do what he needs to do for his team. His teammates loved it. I mean, you saw everybody on the Washington Commanders sideline running up to Tress after he made the play. So honorable mention there for a play of the game. But that's how we got here, 20-17. Now let's turn our attention to Jayden Daniels. Eye on the Tiger. Day number, I think this is 12. If you count all the practices, of course, game number 1. That is coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find qualified professionals that are right for the role you're trying to fill, and that's why you need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free, but LinkedIn isn't just another job board. No, LinkedIn helps you find professionals and hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for new jobs, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn's users don't visit another leading job site. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. And on LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like professionals on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats, so they're always finding new ways to make hiring easier and making the process smoother. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When your schedule is packed with kids, activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. But we all need to have something in our self-care regimen that's a non-negotiable. Maybe you never skip leg day. Maybe you never skip doing yoga once a day, or maybe you never skip therapy day. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard for us to make time for it. Sometimes we even feel guilty doing things that make us feel better and that help take care of us. But it's incredibly important that you invest in yourself. So when you feel like you have no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and you will get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge as well. So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Jayden Daniels had one possession in his first preseason game. That's all he got. Dan Quinn said he did ask for another one, but they told him, no, dude, you're not going back out there. Appreciate the competition, appreciate the desire to go play. And Jayden's certainly having fun out there. But the team shut him down after one drive. But in that one drive, a lot of confidence was built in the future of this young quarterback. Don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Nobody's crowning him All-Pro, Hall of Famer, franchise savior just yet. But you have to like what you're seeing from the young quarterback. Thanks for making Locked On Commanders your first listen today, every day, especially after games. For your second listen, check out the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast, where you can get your daily insight into the best fantasy draft strategies, so you can win your league this season. I'm using them myself. I've got the number 1 overall pick, which I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I hate having the number 1 overall pick, especially in a 12-team snake draft league. It's pretty brutal, but I'm going to do the best I can. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Eye on the Tiger post-game. Number 1, Jayden Daniels. Again, one drive, finished 2 for 3, so 66% completion rate. Finishes off with a 3-yard touchdown run around the right side of the offensive formation. First of all, started the ball with the 30-yard line. This is part of the new kickoff rules. If the kickoff goes out of bounds, or out of the back of the end zone, I should say, without touching the ground in the landing zone, as they call it, without touching a player, the offense automatically gets the ball at the 30-yard line. Now, there's a new kickoff rule. There's a lot of people who think that's just what the NFL teams are going to do because a lot of the returns are getting out to like the 35, 40-yard line anyway, but that's a different conversation for a different time. So the Jayden Daniels, first drive of the game, it's the first drive of the game, is his first drive of the game, his only drive of the game. Starts off at the 30-yard line, and right off the bat, you're a little bit worried. I was talking to some insiders before the game, giving you guys as many text updates as I possibly could, and bottom line is top 3 tackles on this team were out. Andrew Wiley was a no-go. Brandon Coleman was a no-go. Dan Quinn did disclose to us he's got a strained pec, so that's what he's dealing with. Is kind of day-to-day, week-to-week. They'll take that as it comes. And then Cornelius Lucas, who's healthy, was excused from the game for a personal matter. Now, he missed a practice earlier in training camp due to a personal matter. I don't know if it's the same personal matter. It's a personal matter, so it's none of my darn business, frankly. So hopefully everything is okay with Cornelius Lucas, at least, the best that it can be with whatever he is dealing with. But that left the offensive line, Tyler Biadasz, Nick Allegretti, Sam Cosmi, so your 2 starting guards in your center intact. But right tackle was Chris Paul. Left tackle was Trent Scott, which obviously is not the most desirable offensive line combination, but they did all right. And the New York Jets did not have their starting defense out there. They didn't play any of their starters, to my knowledge. They certainly didn't have, their top defensive pass rushers, all that. Sauce Gardner wasn't on the field. DJ Reed wasn't out there to defend any passes or anything like that. But you still look at it's an NFL defense. They're still coming after you. The speed is still definitely there. And the very first pass that Jayden Daniels throws, incomplete. It's I don't know if it was a screen or a leak. I call it a leak to Austin Eckler. And it was not even close. And I looked at it, I kind of laughed it off in the moment. I kind of said, all right, there's some adrenaline for you. It's an NFL. Again, first time on an NFL field. I know we played at LSU, played at Arizona State. Those aren't small stadiums, but you put on that NFL uniform for the first time. You come out here, you get ready for the first time. There's got to be a little bit of adrenaline and nerves, right? So I kind of chalked it up to that. Next pass play comes down on that 3rd and 6. Right side, fly route to Dyami Brown. Go route to some people. 42-yard connection. Sam Cosmi actually did a radio interview during the game and went and told the broadcast that Jayden Daniels checked into that play. Austin Eckler confirmed that later. Dan Quinn also confirmed that later and told us that Jayden Daniels didn't have permission to check out of the screen. There was a screen called on 3rd and 6. That's what Cliff Kingsbury dialed up. Jayden Daniels didn't have permission to do it. He just went ahead and did it anyway. And then after he completed the pass, Jayden Daniels running down the field to catch up to where his guy got the ball, was smiling at the sideline because Jayden said that they've been talking about it. He kind of said, like, I'm going to check out of something. I'm going to check into a deep shot at some point in time. He did it. Dyami Brown came down with it. And you love seeing Dyami Brown come down with it because I'll admit, first and foremost, I'm one of the ones who's been a little bit hard on Dyami Brown. Not 100% certain he's going to earn a spot on this roster. Really kind of feeling like he had to go out there and prove himself, and that's the kind of play where you go out there and kind of prove yourself. He's kind of known as a vertical threat. This is a vertical offense. That's a vertical throwing quarterback. So if you can go make those plays, if you're a quarterback, then you're certainly going to make guys like me eat my words, and I'm all here for it. Big fan of Dyami as a human. Third pass was also complete. This was a right side flare out to Terry McLaurin for 3 yards. You love to see Terry McLaurin get involved. There was a false start penalty on Nick Allegretti, your starting left guard, on 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. You hate to see those penalties. Not a lot of penalties in this game, relatively speaking, especially when you consider all the rotational pieces and everything else like that. So you're kind of okay with that, but there was an early penalty in goal to go. You definitely want to see them take care of that and kind of nip those in the bud. But at the end of the day, guys, Jayden Daniels finishes off with a read option play. Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, I guess, were kind of rallying the coaches to give one of them the ball to get that touchdown. At the end of the day, Jayden Daniels keeps it, takes it around the right side of the formation, and just kind of jogs into the end zone. If you haven't seen that play already, plenty of videos of it. It was 11 play, 70-yard drive, took up 6 minutes and 21 seconds. And guys, I mean, it was solid. It was methodical. Jayden Daniels looked accurate, except for the first pass, which, again, I'm going to chalk up to adrenaline. Looked decisive, and most importantly, looked like he was having fun, right? And that's exactly what this game should be. If you're doing it well, it's going to be a lot of fun to play. So good debut for Jayden Daniels. A lot of smiles in the locker room. We talked to Ben Sinnett. I'm going to share that with you guys here on an episode coming up, or I might just publish it as an individual short video on the channel or something like that. But Ben Sinnett was talking about his quarterback as well. Very happy with what they saw there. 3 stars from the game. We're going to do this every post game as well. And it's kind of like hockey. So if you're a hockey fan, we got star number 3, star number 2, star number 1. Star number 1 is kind of like the best star for whatever reason. Star number 3, I'm going rookie tight end Ben Sinnett. 3 catches, 57 yards, had a 44-yarder. I haven't been able to go back to the replay and do the math right now and tell you what the catch was and then the yards after catch. Maybe you guys have that data in front of you. But, I mean, that was a grown man run. I don't know. Like, it could have been an angry run. We'll see if Good Morning Football is is doing angry runs in the preseason. But Ben Sinnett, a grown man play by a rookie tight end there for that 44-yarder, which to my knowledge is the longest play of the game for both sides. Star number 2, running back Michael Wiley, someone that we talked about as a practice squad candidate, came out here, got 8 carries, rushed for 34 yards. That's 4.3 yards per carry. Got a touchdown there to give the Commanders a late lead. Unfortunately, it didn't hold. Also had a catch, though, for 5 yards. So Michael Wiley, I think, really stood out. Very versatile, young looking running back. Right now, I still got him as a practice squad guy. But, hey, if the Commanders try to keep 4 backs, he might go in there and challenge Chris Rodriguez for that 4th spot. Right now, Jeremy McNichols holding that 3rd spot from where I sit. And then star number 1, it's got to be Jayden Daniels, right? We kind of already talked about it, but you look at the practice, the joint practice, and you saw a little bit of shakiness early on, a little bit late on a pass to Luke McCaffrey in the joint practice that he had to go make an adjustment to. And then as the day went forward, you saw more decisiveness out of Jayden, kind of got back to his style of play. Even though the completion percentage wasn't all there, you saw a little bit more of what we were used to seeing from Jayden. And we come out today, much better weather, as you can see. And I think you saw that return to Jayden Daniels. So right now, Jayden Daniels looking pretty good. I think you guys can get pretty excited. Again, I wouldn't crown him an all-pro here in year 1 or anything like that, but certainly very good debut for him here in the preseason. So thank you to everybody who's come through for this live. This is how we're going to do lives all season long, 12 to 15 minutes or so. I know we're hitting about 16 and a half right now. So not a full episode breakdown, but kind of a bonus episode breakdown. And then we'll do full episodes 5 days a week as well, diving into the action that happened, the action that's going to come. And then, of course, we'll hear from the coaches and players in between there. So we'll come back Sunday evening, early Monday morning with another episode. Our next practice is in Ashburn Monday at 2 p.m. So you'll get an episode dropping after that, probably looking about 5 or 6 p.m. for that episode to drop on Monday. And then again, Tuesday after practice. And then we're into Miami, where if I think it's hot right now, I got another thing coming for me when we get to Miami, I think. So in the meantime, if you've got questions or comments, all you got to do is text me. Go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. That's joinsubtext.com/LockedOnCommanders. Become an insider and text me today. Thank you for making Locked On Commanders your first listen today. Next up, check out the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast to get your daily insight into the best fantasy draft strategies so you can win your league this season. The Washington Commanders are 0-1 this preseason, but that's all right because Jayden Daniels looks solid, and that's the most important thing you got to take from it. Thanks for coming through to talk about it every day, or thanks for coming through every day. Until we speak again, if you're out and about, please be safe, be kind, and I will see you next time for another episode of Locked On Commanders, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.